that the battle against poverty requires the effort of everyone.
Hello, welcome to Bridging the Gap. I'm Patience Nauko Mwana. This program comes to you from Liftable Poverty Organization, LAPO. This morning we are going to be talking about an issue that has raised a lot of concern recently, and that is domestic violence. Domestic violence or intimate partner abuse is a major public health issue that has caused a lot of pain, so much pain, to victims, their families and friends. And one of the factors really that has contributed greatly to the increase of domestic violence is this culture of silence surrounding it. So we are going to be talking about this deep-rooted culture of silence surrounding domestic violence, and also the stigma that is attached to intimate partner abuse. And I have with me, right here in the studio, I have with me Barrister Mrs. Ose Agaro. Barrister, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very fine, and you?
I'm fine.
Okay, Barrister Ose is a member of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, and with her, we're going to be talking about all the whys. We are going to be looking at why are women really women? Why are women not able, or they are ashamed of talking about what they are passing through, what they are experiencing in their relationships? We're going to also be talking about why do we have so much complacence. Why is society so complacent about this intimate partner abuse? And also we are going to be discussing what we as a people, what are we going to do, or what have we been doing, or what have we done to address the issue of spousal violence or intimate partner abuse in Nigeria. And we will also be looking at the statistics, the facts about domestic violence in Nigeria. And so we will be discussing all this with our Barrister Mrs. Ose Agaro. But before we will do that, we will take a message from LAPO on cancer. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Okay, Barrister, let's start by looking at domestic violence. What exactly is domestic violence, and is domestic violence common in Nigeria, and what are the forms of domestic violence that we have?
Well, everybody have their own meaning of domestic violence, but for me, domestic violence is that pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner.
All right.
That is domestic violence. And domestic violence can take place between a man and his wife, that's married couple. It can still take place in the household. Maybe a family member can even suffer from domestic violence. And domestic violence has abuses like battering. A man battering his wife, It could be economic violence. Not at times the woman is not empowered. The man will not even feel anything, or even send money or give money to the children, or for the upkeep, give money to the wife for the upkeep of the home. There's also emotional violence. There's also sexual violence. That is, you feel the woman is your wife. Anytime you want her, you force her. You can even beat her. Those are the forms of violence.
Let's look at the statistics now. What's the statistics of abuse in Nigeria?
Right now, the statistics of abuse now, between in fact, between, when you see 3 family, two suffer from domestic violence. The women in the family, they suffer. Right now in Nigeria is about 69%. It has gone high compared to how it used to be, 31, 30. And why it is like that, why is that 61% is that? It would have been more than that. A lot of women, they don't speak out. They hide. They don't, because of stigmatization, because of family values. They don't want to break away from their home. They keep quiet.
You know, the way the tradition is in this part of the country, in this part of the world, people don't want to leave their marriages because it's not our practice here. All right, what are other factors that contribute to the increase of domestic violence?
To me, the factor that contributes to increase in domestic violence is women not speaking out. If you don't speak out, the man feels nothing can be done to him. Nobody can hold him responsible. He will continue to beat the woman or inflict other form of abuse on the woman. Then, our laws. Some persons, they don't even understand that there is anything like Violence Against Person Prohibition Act. They don't know where to go. The awareness is not there. 3, those that are abused, they don't want to speak out because after the abuse, what is the society going to say? And what is the government? How will the government rehabilitate them from all those trauma? They don't want to speak out. They rather just keep quiet and not talk. Also, family values too. Their family, like you said before, they don't want to, they feel, oh, by the time I leave, my family will say, we don't do this in the family. They don't want to speak out. That is why the abuse has really increased.
Okay, let's look at the laws now. What does the law say about domestic violence and the penalty for domestic violence?
Before the VAP law came into existence, we had the criminal code and the penal code, which also brought out some penalties for battery, which is 3 years. But the law went further to bring the VAP Act. The VAP Act passed by the federal government 2015, so as to protect those that are vulnerable. When we say those that are vulnerable, it doesn't really mean women. It has to do with women, children, even boys, young boys that cannot really help themselves. The law protects them. Section 5, part 2 of the VAP Act, section 1 to 5, talks about battery. That when you beat your wife, you face a jail term of 3 years. 3 years imprisonment. That's the VAP Act. When it was domesticated in Edo State in 2019, there is also punishment there from 2 years. The federal one talked about option of fine too, 200,000. But for me, I feel that is not enough. For me, I feel anybody that beats his wife should be taken. In fact, he should go to jail for. It should be life imprisonment. Next time, we will not try it again.
Right. Let's this law now. I understand that not all states have domesticated the law. What do you think is the hindrance? Why?
Not all states have domesticated the law. One, some states, this culture that women should not speak is one of the reasons why it has not been domesticated in some states. Why some states, like Edo State, quickly domesticated it. Because we know through the various groups, the NGOs, the CSO, pushing the government to do something. So the state government, no. Then it was even during Honorable Ajonto's time. It was pushed and it was domesticated here.
In Edo State.
In Edo State. So I think there should be more awareness of the VAP law. The other states should understand what it is doing. It's not just for women. It's for the vulnerables. That is what it is for.
I'm going to take a break right now so we can bring you the Faces of Lapo. Faces of Lapo is where we have clients. A segment on this program, we have clients of Lapo Microfinance Bank sharing their experiences with the bank. Please stay with us.
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Akwa State. I'm doing my business here. I started with Lapo. Lapo has been very nice and very good with me. It was since 2015 that we started. I started from kiosk to Pasha, from Pasha before I built this big shop here. It has been through the good efforts of Lapo. Anytime I go to their office for any help, they are always there for me. I cannot do without it. My success today is from Lapo. What I am today is from Lapo. Lapo has really put smiles on my face. Lapo has made me to empower other women. People are tripping, coming just to be empowered by Lapo. Lapo has been a good microfinance. I keep on introducing Lapo to other people that they should come. One thing with Lapo, the moment you start with Lapo, just use the money for the business, not for any other thing else. There is no way you will not make it. I always encourage other women that they should come and join the good incentive that I've been receiving from Lapo. Lapo gave my son scholarship just because of how I am with them. Instead of me to use my money to eat my money, rather I'll use that money to clear off my loan and get another money to put into my shop. Their interest rate is nothing but just okay. As long as you can collect and you put it, is okay, no problem with the Lapo interest rate. My good advice for other women is that anytime they collect money from Lapo, they should use that money for investment, for their business. They should not use that money to go and buy rice, to go and buy chicken and cook. Rather, they should put the money for business and the money will grow as long as it is for business. Since they collect that money for business, that money should be for business. There is no way they will not grow with it.
Welcome back. All right, but Barrister, we're talking about. Let's look at the rules now. What is the role of the government, the family, community, and the other stakeholders? Or rather, let's before we take the rule, let's look at the law. We were talking about the law before we went on break. Let's look at the law now. We have the VAP Act, the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, and in some states it has, like Edo State, it has been domesticated. Why in some other states? I understand that about 13 or so states have domesticated the barb art. But before we go to the role of the government and other stakeholders, why do you think that this law is the implementation? How is the implementation of the law? Let's look at the implementation of the law. How is it? Do you think that the law is being implemented?
In Edo State, it is.
I'm not just talking about Edo State. I'm looking at even right there in Abuja.
It is. When you don't cry out, when the women don't cry out, what can the law do? The law cannot. The law is, you see the law, that image, it is blind. You tie it. It doesn't know you. It doesn't know me. Its own is to dispense justice. If you don't cry out, you don't speak out as a woman, how will the law protect you?
Okay, so why we have been talking about all the whys, and we said that some women don't speak out because of the tradition. They want to maintain the status quo, the family values and all that we don't, there is stability in marriage. In the African setting, there is stability, and then there is this issue of patriarchy. It's a patriarchal society. The man is the head of the home, so he is seen to be the one that is dishing out all the rules. The authority lies with the man, so the woman is to obey at all times. The woman has to be submissive. If she's not submissive, she has to be punished for.
If she's not submissive, they call her all sorts of names.
Yes.
In African society.
Right. Let's look at what do we do.
You said something earlier that what can the government do? The government do about it. Then the individuals, the church, family, all this, they have to help. They have to come together. Come together to help. If you have a neighbor that is being battered, you hear, please speak out. You can go to the nearest police station and go and report. Then for the women, they should speak out, no matter what. The man cannot, he can only beat you. He will beat you. Once you can just get out of the house, go to the nearest police station or even come to FIDA office. They can even come to LAPO and make such reports. You people know what to do. The culture of silence is not the best. Also, the government should still create more awareness about this VAP law being domesticated in a lot of persons, they don't even know. And also, once so the man is arrested, in fact, every tenets of the law should be doled out. It should be dealt with decisively. Not the one he will go to police station, he will start saying different things. At the end, nothing is being done. Then the church, the leaders in the church too, should always talk about domestic violence, the evil, the abuse, the trauma. They should tell their congregation. The men should be educated that domestic violence is not the best. And also for the child living in the house being abused all the time, through the church, the church leaders can speak to their brethren and they will be able to understand. And also family members, let me add this, family. Your child being in a marriage, being abused all the time, and you want the marriage to subside, you want the marriage to stay, it is not the best. Take your child home. Take your child home. Don't allow your child to be killed. That is it.
I also want to add that a lot of women also look at the economic situation. They will feel, if I leave this marriage now, or if I leave this man, where do I go from here? From here, how do I take care of my children? How do I pay their school fees? How do I feed them and all that? It's also good for women to be
empowered.
Yes, economically
a woman should be economically empowered.
Yes.
If you are empowered, no man can do any rubbish to you, because the man knows that you know how to deal with him. You know how to go to meet those that will fight for you.
Yes.
In which the man will not try it.
Women should also know their rights.
They should know their right. They should know their right. As a woman, you should know your right, that you should not be abused all the time. You have a right to live. You shouldn't be abused. The way the man is, you have a right to live like that too, if you are empowered.
Right. What are your final words?
My final word is that women, those being abused, don't stay silent. Come out from that place you have hidden yourself. Speak out. Speak to people. Speak to your friends. You will get good advice and you will know what next to do.
Right. Thank you so much, Barrister, for taking time.
Thank you.
I know you've been very busy for a while now.
Yes.
But you've taken time today to come on the program.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Our focus this morning has been on the issue of domestic violence. We've been looking at the culture of silence and the stigma that is attached to domestic violence. Well, finally, before we leave, we're going to take the statistics, the facts about domestic violence in Nigeria. Globally, an estimated 736 million women, almost 1 in 3, are reported to have experienced physical or sexual violence by an intimate partner, with 38% of all murders, that's deaths, being committed by intimate partners. In Nigeria, we have various forms of violence against women and girls, including physical, intimate partner violence, which is estimated at 14%, female genital mutilation estimated at 19.2%, and child marriage estimated at 40%. In 2020, the incidence of physical, sexual, or emotional violence by a partner was reported to be at 69%. A 2021 United Nations Women Report revealed that 48% of Nigerian women have experienced at least one form of violence since the COVID-19 pandemic. Taking action against gender-based violence. Addressing gender-based violence requires a multi-sectoral approach, and everyone, governments, civil society organizations, religious leaders, neighbors, friends, and family members all have an important part to play. 1. Women and girls must know that they are legally protected against all forms of violence. Therefore, government at all levels must ensure that the VAP Act is passed and implemented in all states of the Federation. And 2. The Nigerian Police, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, that's NAPTIP, and other relevant government agencies must wake up to their responsibilities and work together to investigate issues of intimate partner violence and prosecute perpetrators of this act in accordance with the provisions of the law. And 3, there must be psychosocial support for victims of gender-based violence. All health care providers must be trained to respond to the needs of survivors holistically. And 4, civil society and human rights organizations are critical stakeholders in promoting public enlightenment programs in communities. They must continue to advocate to make violence against women unacceptable and for such violence to be addressed as a public health problem. And finally, religious leaders are fundamental allies in advocating against gender-based violence. They are duty-bound to continue to educate their followers with the right doctrines, encouraging them to speak up against and report every act of violence against women and children to the authorities. That's where we end the program for today. If you want to talk to someone or you don't know what to do, you can please call the numbers on the screen. In Lapo, we have a legal aid unit with experienced counselors and lawyers who will be very, very willing to talk to you and address any issue of concern to you, especially when it has to do with domestic violence or any form of a human rights violation that you are experiencing. We are also working in partnership with the Ministry of Gender, the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issues, and also the International Federation of Women Lawyers, as FIDA. We are working in partnership with, in fact, a host of organizations just to ensure that you are safe and protected from violence, from domestic violence and any forms of abuse. You can reach out to us, you can call our numbers on the screen, you can also visit any of our offices or come to our head office at number 18 Downstead Road, Benin City. Do have a blessed day. Bye.